Hi, guys. Welcome to this episode of the Trainer Feed. We are your hosts. My name is Angel Sanchez. We have my co host over here, Mr. David Bravo.
What's up, guys?
And then Jacques Delagere.
What's going on, everybody? This is the intros we're playing with for our listeners. You'd be happy to hear we're mixing things up.
Yeah, we're mixing things up. If you listen to one of the episodes where David was away, I had made mention towards the end that if our next episode has sound effects in it, that means I won the battle of getting the mixer. So, congratulations.
I was never against it.
David, how does it feel to lose a battle of getting a mixer? Feels pretty bad, right? All right. All jokes aside, let's go.
Well, I won the biggest battle.
What's that?
COVID.
Oh yeah. But don't matter. Yeah, so let's talk about that real quick, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes. How are you feeling? So David did get COVID again. For our listeners who are a little bit confused, David, tell us about how that experience was and how you feel right now.
It was a walk in the park. You know why?
Why?
So I was vaxxed up. I was boosted.
There you go.
It was fine. I was sick for maybe a day and a half.
All right.
And then even then, it just felt like a really bad cold/allergy. So, yeah.
Okay.
Booster kicked my butt. I had a booster.
The first time I had it back in 2020, April, May, it took me out for a whole week.
Damn.
Week and a half. Yeah. And then it took like subsequent weeks for me to actually like get better. Like I didn't have the virus anymore, but it took me a week extra to like, I guess, not feel the effects anymore. This one, I felt sick on Sunday, got tested Monday. I was positive. By Wednesday, I was fine.
Okay, that's a pretty quick turnaround. I heard obviously there's different strains and things like that. So
I got the Amarion, the B2K virus.
Yeah, Amarion. You said that I got the ice box. That's Amarion, right?
I have no ice box in my heart.
No, but anyway, we're not scientists. I was gonna hypothesize that you might be able to distinguish the different effects of the first COVID versus this COVID, and then compare them. But it's kind of
well, the first COVID was like a extra, like Thanos level flu. You know, and then I still could taste and smell, but this one just felt like I had the sniffles and fever.
And fear, you said?
Fever.
Oh, fever. I was gonna say.
I ain't
fear.
scared.
Fear, yeah,
What are you?
You know why I wasn't scared?
What is it called? Pectoral angina. What's that? Y'all know what I'm talking about?
I don't think that's what his point is, though, is it?
No, it's not.
No.
What? Distracted by the fear.
Oh.
Sense of
The medulla oblongata.
No. There's some shout out to listeners who know what I'm talking about. But go ahead. Why weren't you scared?
So I was vaxxed up.
Oh man, I am not even gonna go down that rabbit. I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole.
We'll get better with it. Trust us.
But anyway, David's alive, well, overcoming it, and healthy, and ready to roll this week, right? And we wanted to really break down use of assessments and which ones we're using, why, kind of that route. So, you want to take us off, Angel?
Yeah. So one of the previous episodes, we briefly spoke about assessments and how assessments can help us with understanding clients at a different level, and how some assessments are used globally and may not necessarily cover all the bases for the person that you're sitting in front of. And it becomes difficult to decipher when you're a newer trainer or a newer coach what to do and what not to do when you're with a newer client. So I think that some of these more general fitness assessments are better to use, so that way you can kind of get your reps in, understand how the body moves, understand what sort of problems or limitations you might see, and then also work through programming on how you might be able to overcome them. But when you start to become like a veteran in the field, you notice that it's not one size fits all, right? So I want to kind of pitch it towards you guys as to what are certain things that you might look at for certain populations, as opposed to just saying, all right, let's just use X assessment. Maybe you have your own style, or maybe you do use X assessment, but then you also add some other things on. So for let's just talk. Let's answer that question first, and then maybe if we have some time, we'll go over some special populations and see what you guys do for those populations. So, David, what are some things that you do for, or do you have like a recipe for clients when they come in for an assessment?
Well, I was taught the FMS in the beginning, and then as I got deeper into the fitness stuff and you know learning from other people, I realized that it could be different when you add a load to somebody's body. So using the FMS as a sole assessment, I don't think is a good idea. Um, yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to the older population, like no, an 80-year-old client, it's rare them doing a perfect inline lunge or a level 3 push up, or an overhead squat. And there've been times where I've had people that can't do 6 out of the 7 movements, and I'm like, okay, so what do I have to do now? And that's when you have to do your own stuff. You gotta, just go have them see, assess how they take a seat, assess how they go up steps, assess how they walk with the kettlebell, or assess how they pick things up. I think that those are the biggest assessing tools are your eyes. You have to watch them, pick things up, grab weight, see what they do, and then go from there.
That's a really good point about seeing what people can do. Almost like you're thinking about movement patterns that people do on a daily basis, and then focusing on those things, right? Because like you said, not everybody's going to be able to do like a level 3 push-up or something like that, trunk stability push-up straight out the gate. And if you're looking at the FMS, then you're supposed to start with the hardest variation and then work your way backwards, which is interesting because when we do our exercise progressions, we always start with like, or generally speaking, you'll start with like a lower progression and have them earn the progressions thereafter versus start like really high and then go low. But what about you, Jacques?
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
No, go ahead. You can keep.
I was going to say, I mean, if you look at the FMS and what it was intended for in the beginning, it was made for military personnel, and you have like I said, you have another client or a client that isn't, I guess, well versed in, I don't know, movement, I guess. They're not going to be doing well with it. And you also don't want to discourage them.
Yeah, a lot of people ask if they like pass or failed.
Yeah, and
right?
and it sucks when you're like, oh well, no, there's no, it's like you don't want to tell them, yeah, you got ones on everything, and they're like, okay, what's the best 3s? They get discouraged, so you don't really want to do that.
I'll say this as well. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but I mean, I'll answer the question. First of all, I think similarly to David, that I use the FMS, but it's not a one size fits all where that tells me everything about what this person can or can't do. In the sense that, all right, they scored a 2-1 or 1-2 on, say, the inline lunge, or the overhead squat was a 1, right? Because one key thing with an overhead squat is I never really cue someone to squat with their feet pointing forwards. I always have them a little turned out, right? So that's one example. And then just because someone doesn't have a symmetrical pattern, you want to work towards symmetry. That's the whole point of them training with you. But hey, they may also be an athlete where, if they play tennis or baseball and they want symmetry in their move patterns, if they're symmetrical, they're probably at a disadvantage at the sport. So there's always, yes, in theory, we want to be symmetrical. We relate that a lot to reducing the risk of injury, but symmetries may be good for some people, or at least in certain facets. But what I was going to allude to as well is, one time I was after a surgery and I did an assessment similar to the FMS, but it was all screens and how I was aligned. And my score was dog shit. My score was so bad. I don't even know what I did with the results. It was so bad. I was very humble and actually quite embarrassed about it. But at the same time, the same take back I take with clients is your score might be absolutely terrible. This is not like everything in life where, oh, your score on this test was terrible. That means the actual product of you moving in life is terrible. I don't think that's always applicable. I don't think anyway. So I just think that's something to bear in mind with people. That's not one size fits all. You
Yeah.
know, that's just the basis I think about movement as well is, well, if all three of us are the FMS, 100% we're getting different scores because we excel at different areas or we're more mobile in different areas. It's no right or wrong, just different anatomy. That's just what I want to chime in with it.
Mm-hmm. You like that word anatomy?
Anatomy.
Yeah, I heard another episode that you used that word in a
Just that one
kind
word?
of way.
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Talk about workout gear. Talk about your anatomy. Anyway.
I don't know how to play for that back and forth.
Oh, is that the Islanders goal horn?
We need to put that.
Play it again.
I wanted to. I don't know. I can record something, so one of these days I gotta get David saying, "Oh nah."
Oh nah. I get my brother to do it.
I'll make that a sound effect.
Anyway. Sorry.
No. So the other thing I was going to say is sometimes the joint by joint approach really helps. Like just making sure what's mobile, what's stable is stable. I feel like that is also a really good point of reference whenever I feel like stumped or I don't know necessarily where to go. If somebody does let's say an overhead deep squat and then they don't do it successfully or they don't do a trunk stability push up successfully, and I'm like, all right, where do I go from there? And or it's just not working out, right? Like sometimes you start with one assessment and you realize it doesn't fit that person, and you're just like, you know what, instead of me trying to find the rest of the pieces of this damn assessment tool, I'm just going to do like a posture screen, and I'm going to see like if you can get your hands above your head, or I'm going to see if you can squat against a wall, like facing a wall, and what does your trunk do when you do that, or what are your hips doing, and making sure like those main joints, the joints that are really, I don't want to say, well, they are problematic. I was going to avoid problematic, but anybody who's had hip pain or shoulder pain knows that this shit is problematic. Just making sure that those areas can move freely and without pain. Sometimes it's as simple as that. And I really like posture screens as well, just making sure that somebody's ear, shoulder, and hips are somewhat in line. And even though we can't make a huge difference in terms of what that's going to look like over time, still being able to keep track of where that is going to be beneficial, because those are things that you can target in your programming, whether it be movement prep or actually inside the program. And these are things that we should pay attention to, especially as we deal with a longer living population, right? Because people aren't dying as quickly as they used to, for better or for worse. So we got to keep everything, all the pieces of the puzzle together and pain-free, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the bottom line, pain-free, right?
Definitely. Right. I know some of us have to go do other things, so I don't want to take up too much of anybody's time. So we will wrap this up unless we got some closing notes, any discount codes or anything that we have to talk about. David, take it away. Take it away, David.
You got a big announcement. Angel. Play that beat. Go spin that shit. There you go. So, guys, Rhone, workout apparel, great quality. I have a couple of Rhone shirts. Some shorts are great. Really heavy duty. Great. They feel amazing. Squat proof. Feel great. You have the shorts that are either lined or linerless, or whatever floats your boat. Use the code TheTrainerFeed, one word, for your next order for a 15% off gift from us to you, our wonderful audience. Thank you.
We love you.
Oh, wait. Also, Jacques has a code. What's your code, Jacques?
It's my last name, Delaugere.
Yeah, spell that.
Delaugere. Just because everyone spells it in many different ways, but get it the right way for 15% off. 10,000.
That's for 10,000.
10,000. Yeah, that's right. So this is the brand that is going to allow you to be better than yesterday.
All right. Is it just your last name, or is it your last name and a number, or?
No, just my last name. But when seasonal promotions come up, I'll post them on my Instagram or post them on here, but it will usually be my name with a number. So if it's an occasion, so if they change it to 25% off, say for, when it was Christmas, it would be $25 or $25. I have to double check that. But try both of them, and I get 25% off. Yeah, I love
Cool.
10,000.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Come on, guys.